Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Dummy.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, Lamas covered. Three-handle family credential.
Mamma mia!
And now, Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, GregUnchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Number 4, armbar.
I will never retire!
I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, GregUnchained. Today is Thursday, so you know what that means. I've been doing that even though you don't know what it means. Yeah, I did the same thing yesterday. I tricked you because yesterday it would have meant King of Sports, but it didn't because we didn't think there was too much to talk about. But then me and Mikey got talking and we realized that there actually is quite a bit to talk about. The last few days have been a wave of New Japan news. So I am joined at this time by BigBoy Mikey. How are you, Mikey?
Good, mate. How you doing?
I am good. So we're going to do King of Sports on Thursday because we're all over the place. Why not?
Yeah, mate. Been busier than a one-arm builder in Baghdad, mate. So let's get going.
I have never heard that. So you took me off guard. What is that? A one-arm builder in Baghdad. Oh, God.
I've been wanting to use that all week. I heard it, and I was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard, and I'm using it.
You've had it in the can.
I've had it in the can.
See, it's a little touchy, though, because the one-arm builder in Baghdad, why has he only got one arm? That's a war of American aggression.
I'm not going to lie. That quote comes via Bachelor. With my man, the Honey Badger as the Bachelor is one of his quotes. So
right. You know what? I'm not normally a fan of this kind of thing, but how good would it be if it's Nick Cummins, right?
Yeah, Nick Cummins. Yep.
How good would it be if Nick Cummins got involved in Australian wrestling at some level somehow?
Oh, mate.
Do you know if he's a wrestling fan?
Oh no, I'm gonna have to look into it. He's a local lad. Yeah, he only lives a couple of minutes away from me. I've got a couple of mates that are really close with him actually, so good look into it because there's a couple of footy boys out there. A Newcastle Knights winger, Nathan Ross, is very close to the Newcastle Pro. He goes to a few Newcastle Pro, takes his I think it's his nephew or his kid or something to a lot of shows. He loves that. So man, I'd love to see if the Honey Badger be into it because oh god, he would be awesome in it.
Oh man, I just think I've known a lot of footballers in my life, and I've known a lot of them to be wrestling fans.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for him now. I knew this guy when I was 7 years old. We lived on the same street. Michael Jennings. He was a big wrestling fan when we were kids.
Yeah,
you know. So I don't know. I always wonder in the back of my head, like especially. I mean, we talked to Jackson Kelly this week, and he used to be a footballer, right? And now he's a wrestler. I think it's a transition that could be made more often, and I'd like to see it happen. To be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's and it crosses both boundaries. And I know for a fact that Robbie Eagles is a massive Sharkies fan. So wrestlers love their footy, and footy players love their wrestling and their MMA and that. So yeah,
Right. So any football players listening, we want come talk to us about wrestling, man. If you're out there, we want to talk to you about wrestling. But let's bring it back. This is the problem with the G1 having gone away. We don't talk anywhere near as much, Mikey, and so we're just going to sit here and shoot the shit.
Yeah, why not?
That's the risk. That's the risk we run into. It's been a while. How are you feeling post G1? you getting the post G1 blues at all? Because it's hit me a little where I'm sitting there through another episode of Monday Night Raw for 3 hours, and I'm thinking to myself, I wish I was watching Hiroshi Tanahashi versus pretty much anyone right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, with the things going on in the personal life, things have been a little bit distracting to so I don't have to be so focused on wrestling in the last week or two. I did get myself through TakeOver and SummerSlam. You know, this is not a WWE.
Both good shows.
No, look, this is not a WWE podcast, but I'm going to give my little votes. I'd say probably second best main roster pay-per-view of the year behind Rumble for me. And TakeOver, as always, if people keep saying, oh, is that the best one of the year, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care anymore because they all blend into one. These takeovers, they're just all awesome. So
this takeover surprised me because I wasn't excited going in. I was saying this to CJ on the View from the WWE Universe earlier this week. I was not expecting much going in, and it blew me away. And it's been that way for a couple of takeovers. So NXT's hot, man. You can't go wrong with NXT.
How can you go wrong with that roster? It's pretty much...
Well, how could you go wrong with the WWE roster? Have a look at the guys they've got.
That's true.
But still,
NXT is that perfect balance between main roster and independent wrestling. And it's just... Well, Triple H has got that... not just Triple H. Everyone gives Triple H all the credit. Yes, he's obviously the big kahuna there, but you got guys like Matt Bloom, Michaels... Sarah Del Rey, Jeremy Borash is down there now. There's a huge...
Steve Carino's there.
Yeah, there's a huge cast down there that are working behind the scenes. And yeah, I mean, like, you got some of the best talent from all the best independent rosters all over the world. And, you know, it's just that perfect balance that, you know, people keep asking for more NXT. Like, they're like, oh, I wish NXT was 2 hours. But I'm like, no, leave it at the 1. Because that balance is perfect. I'd actually... The only tweak that I would have to just step up the game, I'd love to see NXT live every week. I would like to see them go live, not to record every week.
That would be nice. I hate the spoilers. The spoilers are
Yeah. I think the spoilers ruin it, and I think they've got the right team, and they've obviously got the money to go live every week. So maybe when the Fox deal goes in, they will go live and they will go even further.
Yeah, well, for those who want NXT to go to 2 hours, I mean, we're going to get NXT UK very soon, and that's going to be another hour of NXT every week. So, you know, you're pretty much getting what you asked for, except with a whole cast of new characters for you to fall in love with. It's amazing. And another continent even, but let's bring it back to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Exactly.
That's the reason we're here. So it was kind of slow. The only thing I really thought that there was to talk about was the post-match comments. We never really got to them. It's a lot to get through all the post-match comments from the G1, but I've been having a look at some of the highlights or what have you. Now, the big interesting one that I wanted to talk about was Hiroshi Tanahashi post-match after winning. He's said that he wants to defend the contract against... Obviously, he has to defend it against Jay White, having lost to Jay White during the G1 proper block action.
Right.
But he drew with Okada, which means he's not obligated to defend it against Okada, but he says he wants to defend it against Okada.
Well, right. Like, I don't know what the legit rule is behind the draw, because I guess you didn't win, but you didn't lose either. So I don't know whether New Japan would make that happen anyway. But obviously Tanahashi being the good guy that he is, and the you know, he's always
the bastion of fighting
spirit. Exactly. You know, he loves defending it. He would love to defend it. So, you know, I'm all for it. There's a lot of people like, why is Okada getting the shot? He didn't beat him. It's like, well, neither did Tanahashi. Tanahashi didn't beat him. So in a way,
and as we said on our last episode where we talked about those final matches, Tanahashi doesn't beat Okada, right? Like he's having trouble, you know?
Right.
And they go to that 30-minute draw, and he tried to beat him. It's not like he just tried to wait out the time, which was all he needed to do. He tried to beat him, and he couldn't get it done. So it's not surprising that he wants to get it done.
Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting matchup because I can see Tanahashi getting over Jay. That's no problem to me. But the Okada part, like you said, he finds it. He hasn't beaten Okada in 7 attempts?
Yeah,
I think it's 7 attempts. So out of their 10 matches, I think they've had. It's been a while since he's beat him. So he
yeah.
Either the last 2 Tanahashi versus Okada matches, I think one was in March or February, and then the G1 final. The G1 semi-final for Block A is any indication. Like they're both probably like match of the year candidates in New Japan. For Tanahashi to get over Okada, it's going to have to be one hell of a match. So.
And it could be a really big moment for him on the way to Wrestle Kingdom, or it could be a really big moment for the company in letting Okada overcome Tanahashi again. So we still have that story there to tell for the day when finally Tanahashi gets that win back.
Yeah.
And Okada can take it'd be the first time the contract has changed hands under Gato, at least.
Yeah, no, the contract.
He's never booked it to change hands.
No, the contract in the contract era has never changed hands. So.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think that, prediction-wise, I think that maybe we'll see some shenanigans and Jay White will cost Okada the match.
Yeah.
That's probably the safest bet, but also I could actually see Okada taking it and going to the Dome against Kenny.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cool because it kind of gives that Kenny. I think I haven't seen the quote. I swear I just read it on Reddit, where Kenny wants to.
Is this the Colt comment?
I think no about Kenny wanting to defend 3 times on the road to Kingdom. So
okay, yeah.
So he'll have one defense, which we'll talk about in a second. He'll obviously have a second defense at Power Struggle. No, sorry, Kings of Pro Wrestling, which. Hasn't been announced, but there's probably like another shot either maybe at Power Struggle or the World Tag League Finals, like where he could defend it one more time. So he was pinned by 3 people in the tournament.
I still don't think Toriano is going to get a shot.
But but for that third one, so obviously his 2 major ones are Ishii and Kota.
Yes.
Then he has the one against Yano. But yeah, obviously the Yano one's not going to be taken seriously. But if he wants to show that he can defend it 3 times, why not make that third one against Yano and not make it easy work? I'm not putting down Yano like that, but to show that Kenny's that superstar that can defend it 3 times. Do a little throwaway at the World Tag League Final, something like that, where it doesn't mean so much that Yano loses his shot. Because if you think about it, it's kind of like for us, like either NRL or AFL fans, how you're on that road to the grand final. So the grand final is obviously the main event at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
you got kind of like you got Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenny Omega right now, but standing in their way. Hiroshi Tanahashi has Jay White and Okada, and Kenny has Ishii and Kota. So there's not exactly... Everyone thinks that, the G1 finals happened, Kenny's a champion, that's set. Yeah, in history, New Japan don't change that too often. It's usually what you get. But, with the Western front coming in to New Japan, they might... go with a swerve with Jay White.
Mr. Authority figure Harold May.
Yeah, they might throw a curveball with Jay White, and maybe Tama gets a defense. Like I know he didn't pin him in the tournament, but maybe Tama gets a shot at him, or I don't know. But look,
just as a personal thing, it's possible.
Yeah, but I love that Tanahashi wants to defend it, and I love that Okada wants to defend his title on the way. So I love that there's 2 faces. And I don't know they're going to go with 2 faces leading into the main event. I just have this deep feeling. I don't want it to.
I still think they could. I still think they could because, as I said, you do have Kenny can work heel for the match, but you do have that story there, as I mentioned before, that I got really excited about of the new era, the new style versus the old guard, and having that built up. And because it's been so protected, they might have had this planned for a long time. That's the kind of thing New Japan excel at, is planning things a long time in advance, or at least making it look like they did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Looking back through their stuff and going, oh, we've got some things there we could pull on, some loose threads, and they do it masterfully, and they weave one hell of a blanket, and it makes me nice and warm. So, but moving on, I guess a couple of days ago, all the news hit in one big wave.
Yeah.
We had Destruction cards announced. We had the Fighting Spirit, not the full cards for Fighting Spirit Unleashed. That's the Long Beach show, but we did have some marquee matches. So let's take a look at a couple of highlights. We won't break it all down because we will have another opportunity to talk King of Sportscast before then, but we'll take a quick look at some of the things that have been announced that have gotten you really hyped up this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it all came on one day, the 20th of August. New Japan which was, 2 days ago at the time of recording. They just hit us with all this news, and I'm like, oh, hello.
Essentially they came out and said, you guys have had enough of a break.
Yeah,
Boom.
Yeah. 7 days was enough, right? No.
Yeah.
So they've announced the market. So they've announced all the Road 2s and the full cards for all 3 Destruction shows.
Yeah, they also announced the broadcasting. So we had discussed whether or not some of these would be in English.
Yeah.
The Destruction shows are live in English. The Road 2 shows will not be live in English. They will be live only in Japanese. However, Kevin Kelly has said he will be in the studio recording the commentary for them. So expect them to go up a couple of days later. I think with the Best of the Super Juniors, it went up about a week on delay, the English commentary stuff. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, he did say, after that G1 that people are wanting more. So look, like you said, we won't break down all the cards because there's 17 odd cards in 3 weeks. But as we get closer to the time, we'll break it down further. So we'll just quickly just touch on some of the marquees that they've announced. All right, so let's start with the Destruction in Hiroshima, which is on the 15th of September. So the 3 marquees that they've announced so far is a 6-man title defense for the Never 6-man title for it is Ishimori, Loa, and Tonga versus Taguchi Japan, which is Taguchi, Finley, and Juice. So that'll be a fun 6-man tag. Like we said, we'll break it down closer to the time, but I predict that the Firing Squad will keep the titles there.
Definitely looking for the Firing Squad to keep the titles. Now, just quickly, a little personal update. My Firing Squad shirt came.
Hey.
It has arrived.
Hey.
I could wear it now. It's not too... It's a really nice long sleeve, too. I've never bought a long sleeve of pro wrestling tees, and the second I put it on, I was like, this is the best long sleeve I've ever owned. It has the really nice tight cuffs on the sleeve. So if you're looking at next winter, maybe get them a little bit in advance because the shipping's not the fastest from pro wrestling tees, but their long sleeves are mint.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. So that was just a little personal aside, but let's carry on with the card.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And go to Pro Wrestling Tees for all your merch needs. Can we get sponsored by Pro Wrestling Tees, please? No.
Well, no, don't go there for all your merch needs. We've got wrestler merch that does all. Shazza McKenzie on wrestler merch. You got Madison Eagles isn't on wrestler merch, so I still haven't gotten your Madison Eagles shirt. I do know that I owe you a shirt. It is coming. I promise you. It's going to have to come from Pro Wrestling Tees. Gorilla Press merch is another one as well that stocks all the not all. I can't say all, but stocks a good amount of the local Aussie wrestlers. So
yeah, so we've touched on the 6-man Never title defense, which would be interesting. The other marquee match that they've announced for Destruction in Hiroshima is Tanahashi and Great Bash Heel, so Makabe and Honma. I love seeing Honma back, so good. Versus Chaos, which doesn't sound like usually wouldn't sound like such an exciting match, but this is Okada, Yoshihashi, and Jay White. So Okada and Jay White are tagging together.
Oh,
so
right.
I see a little bit of a Wrestle Kingdom Chaos split starting to.
Yeah, we get to see a bit of Peter Dutton, Malcolm Turnbull action.
Yeah, Jesus. Let's not touch on that. Let's not touch on that.
Just for everyone who's not in Australia that's listening to this is scratching their head like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Politics, people. Australian politics. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a potato for a prime minister. Fantastic. Okay.
No, it'll be really good to see their interactions because there's definitely going to be a leadership struggle for Chaos.
Absolutely.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And the only question is how long is it going to take for them to tell the story the way they want to? And I'm real excited for this story.
Yeah, exactly. So that should be interesting. And then the big one for that is Kenny's first title defense, which is going to be against Ishii. Now, I touched on this before we started recording. We were very surprised that Ishii Omega wasn't going to be at Kings of Pro Wrestling, as Kings of Pro Wrestling is one of the 3 big cards of the year avongside Dominion and Wrestle Kingdom. So, yeah, I was very surprised that, this being a Meltzer Classic wasn't put on one of the main shows, but, this is going to be an amazing match no matter what. So obviously I don't expect Ishii to take the title from him, but should be a great night anyway.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was going to be at Kings of Pro Wrestling. I don't think Ishii's going to go over by any stretch of the imagination. I think Kenny's walking into the dome with that strap, but I'm surprised. I really thought it would be there. Now I'm thinking that they're going to do Kota versus Kenny at Kings of Pro Wrestling. Because I don't know how, because as he said, he wants to do those defenses, so that's got to be where it is, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
So that's the 3 marquees for Hiroshi.
Moving on?
Yeah, there's so there's those 3 marquee matches for Destruction and Hiroshima there. Obviously there's a full card, so go to New Japan NJPW1972.com and go into the schedule section for all the your scheduling reads. So that's that. Then we move on to Destruction in Beppu. Beppu? I've never been able to pronounce that properly.
Beppu.
It's probably the easiest to read, but the weirdest to announce.
With my with my learning Japanese app, it would be Beppu. So that doesn't sound natural at all, so I have no idea, but that's what it says on my learning Japanese.
Right. So the 3 marquee matches they've announced for this one is a 6-man match, an 8-man match, very similar to the Hiroshima match with Tana and Great Bash Hill, but this time they've got Juice accompanying them, so it's an 8-man tag versus Chaos, exactly the same 3 guys from Hiroshima, but this time they're adding Yano in it. So,
so with Yano and Juice, we're going to get a little bit more fun.
Exactly.
Not that the other guys can't do fun. I mean, Okada works some very good comedy matches.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for All In. His match with Marty Scurll is going to be hilarious. Yeah. But
we all know.
It definitely when you add Yano and Juice to the mix, there's all of a sudden an entirely new dynamic.
And P.S. Marty, you're fucked. No,
I'm fucked, aren't I, mate? We'll get to that. We'll get to that on the All-In cast.
I look forward to the All-In cast, by the way. Anyway, so the other 2 matches announced for Beppu are a never defense for Goto, which is very strange to me because Goto was pinned a few times in the G1 tournament, and I thought maybe one of those might come up over the Destruction cards, maybe as a title defense for him. But no, he's defending against someone that wasn't even in G1, against Taichi.
Okay. Yeah.
Which...
Well, no, that's good, man. That's good. I miss Taichi. It's, when the guys aren't on the G1, you kind of, it's easy to forget.
Absolutely.
That they're there.
Exactly. We got a lot of Makabe on this in the G1. But yeah, I miss seeing guys like Nagata's back on this tour and Tenzin and Honma and that. So yeah, like you said, I love seeing guys like Taichi back. So I don't know where they go with this. I'm guessing Goto retains, but Taichi could get the upset win there. And then the other big match that they've announced is Naito versus Minoru Suzuki, which...
Ooh, that one's going to be a good one.
Which is a all-out heavyweight battle, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I got to imagine that Naito's still sore coming off his battle with Jonah Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
but no, that's going to be it. That's going to be a brutal match watching Suzuki. And that's another, Naito is one of those guys who I always talk about the dad strength guys, right? Like your Ishii, your Suzuki, your Makabe is kind of there too.
Yeah.
But Naito works Naito can work that style, even though he's not that guy. He's a little bit more faster paced, obviously, but he can work that hard hitting, just straight up Japanese dad strength style, just forearm to the face a million times. Naito is so good at it, so that match is going to be fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, I look forward to that. And like you said, surely he's feeling a little bit sore after not just getting in the ring with Jonah Rock, but who let him drink VB? Seriously.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Whoever is responsible for this man, this is a man who is used to Japanese beer. Now, I don't know if you've ever had any Japanese beers. I've had a few.
I've had Kieran. I love Kieran. Kieran is fantastic.
I've had a couple, and I can't remember the names. I feel bad, but I probably should have looked it up because I knew we were going to talk about this. But Japanese beer is actually really, really good. Like, you wouldn't think Japanese beer, but it is. They have some good beers. VB, we have so much to offer.
Oh.
We have so much to offer here. Why VB?
Yeah, bloody oath. I would rather...
Is it just because he was in Melbourne? Is that why? Because he was in Melbourne? Like, if he went to Queensland, would you give him a 4X? Come on. Like, give him a James Squire or something nice. Yeah. I don't know.
I'd rather be chopped by Minoru Suzuki for 10 minutes than drinking VB, so... anyway.
Yeah. That's what I posted. I posted about it on Facebook, and someone was like, "Oh, come on, it's just a beer." And I'm like, I wouldn't call it a beer.
No, it's warm piss in a bloody bottle. It's not beer; it's piss.
That said, if anyone is listening from the VB company, our opinions are for sale. So we have zero principle, and we're happy to endorse your product. Should you throw some shekels our way?
We'll never get an endorsement from...
I wouldn't take it, to be honest with you. But let's moving on.
Carlton Draft, if you want to sponsor us one day, I love a good Carlton Draft. All right, and moving on to Destruction in Kobe. And speaking of Kobe beef, we have a great 8-man tag being announced for this, which is the beef between LIJ
I see what you did
Suzuki
there.
Gun.
That's well done, by the way.
Boom.
It was well done. I like what you did there.
But yeah, no, LIJ, it's a 6-man. It's a 6-man. So yeah, so it's Sonata, Evil, and Nato versus Taka, Zack, and Minoru Suzuki. So coming off the Beppu Nato versus Minoru match, we go into a little bit of a 6-man stable warfare. So I like seeing LIJ versus Suzuki Gun matches. It's good. And then...
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be fun.
The other marquee match. I'm not going to talk about it because we're going to talk about it towards the end of the podcast, but there was another marquee match which we will touch on at the end of the podcast regarding another topic. So we won't go there. So yes,
yes, absolutely. That's one that I'm very excited for, and I will get there shortly.
Absolutely. Okay, so yeah, so they're the 3 destruction cards, for Hiroshima, Beppu, and Kobe.
Right, and then we had, of course, Fighting Spirit Unleashed, which is going to take place in Long Beach, another American show right around the corner.
Right, well, before we get into the Fighting Spirit, sorry, I just want to drop in one little note. So on the road to, there's always interesting, like we get in the Yuya versus Yuta Young Lion matches again, so probably another 10...
Oh, yes!
Probably another 10-minute draws.
10-minute Broadways, please. Yep. I love this story. These guys are they're killing it. The matches get more and more intense and they can't win over each other. And I really want it to lead to them going on excursion together, maybe some, being the elite style YouTube. Like, you get them to start their own YouTube, right? And have them begrudgingly go like an odd couple,
Yeah.
Have them be an odd couple and become a tag team. And I think the future is bright for these guys just from this story. Yeah. I love it. Their 10-minute Broadways are the best.
I'd love to see, I know it's not going to happen, well, it could happen one day. I would love to see a New Japan excursion done in Australia. Send these 2 guys to MCW for a year. I reckon that'd be interesting.
It would be. It absolutely would be, especially with the MCW Academy open as well. They'd be able to train there. So it's. I wouldn't say it's completely out of the question, but I think it might be a while away.
But yeah, anyway, so obviously there's cool things like that. We got. I'm sorry with the pronunciation's not right. We've got Ayoto Yoshida. This is not his first appearance on a New Japan card. He is a member of a graduate of Taka's gym, Taka Michinoku's.
He's from the Kaientai Dojo.
Kaientai Dojo, thank you very much. But he's going to be on the full Road to card, so it's his first full Road to. He's on nearly every card from the look of it, so good to see another new face on all the cards. But the biggest part of the Road to is Satoshi Kojima, one of the biggest legends in all of New Japan. He returns to New Japan on September 9th. I don't understand the 50th anniversary part. I'm sorry. I'm pride myself as knowing as much as I can about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I have no idea what the 50th anniversary of Blue Justice is. I know what Blue Justice is. I know it's Yuji Nagata's Blue Justice Army about, doing right in Japan and stuff, always being the good guys, whatnot. But I do not understand the 50th anniversary side of it.
So maybe that predates Yuji Nagata. Maybe it predates
Exactly,
New Japan.
potentially.
Or maybe time is a flat circle.
Potentially, maybe
none of this matters.
maybe something from a Japanese program, because 50 years even would predate both New Japan and All Japan. So I don't know. However, it's been built as a 50th anniversary of Blue Justice 8, which is so it's going to be. The first show is an 8-man tag between Makabe and Honma, so Great Bash Heel, plus Juice and Finlay, taking on the returning Satoshi Kojima and the returning Hiroshi Tenzan, so Tenkozy, my lord, I almost forgot their tag team name, Tenkozy, the returning Yuji Nagata, Mr. Blue Justice himself, and Manabu Nakanishi, 4 of the pillars of the 2000 New Japan scene. I know it's not always regarded as the best New Japan era, but they're 4. Actually, if you include Makabe and Honma, 6 of the best 2000s New Japan guys all being involved.
Yeah, Yuji Nagata's my boy, so I'm excited for that. But they're going to win.
Obviously, yeah, and I'm sure Finley's taking the pin there. But yeah, so just sort of...
That's what he's there for. He's the Bushi.
Exactly. So just sort of throw that in. That's a cool little bit of news that New Japan like to announce that Kojima is returning. So I like seeing these names return because, yeah, like we've been saying, especially with G1 and Best of Super Juniors highlighting the winter, well, for us, summer for Japan. We got a lot of Super Junior heavy stuff. We've got a lot of main roster stuff. So that little the mid section of New Japan, the legends and the other guys get left out a bit for a couple of months. And I like to see around this time of year when all these little legends and the other pieces, especially I like seeing a bit more young lions.
Yeah, the young lions. I'm so stoked that the young lions are back. That's, some of the guys were on the G1 tour, of course, but it's a matter of, you get the same ones and the same ones. But I completely forgot about Yoda and Yuya and how much I love that. So I'm really excited for that. That's amazing. So so let's take it to Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
So
what were the marquee matches announced?
Okay, so we got 3 matches announced. One we're going to skip over because we'll touch on it at the end, similar to the Destruction in Kobe announcement I was talking about before. But the other 2 that we can talk about, and 2 matches I'm really excited to see. So this is going to be the Long Beach show, Fighting Spirit, which I love the name of Fighting Spirit. It's fantastic. Fighting Spirit Unleashed. Sorry, I forgot the Unleashed part. So the first one is
FSU.
Yeah, FSU in SCU.
SCU? Yeah. Hopefully SCU make an appearance. They need to do more work with New Japan. I'm just saying. Just saying.
And New Japan, if you want to do another Long Beach show, can you organise it for around the end of May next year? Because I'll be in Long Beach at the end of May next year, so please organise one for them. The 2 exciting matches that we can talk about right now that have been announced. So 2 title matches. The first one is the Young Bucks versus... Are they still Guerrillas of Destiny when they're on their own? Or Fighting Spirit or whatever? Sorry.
Yeah, they're the Guerrillas of Destiny.
I just call them Fighting Spirit. Firing Squad. My lord. More over the place tonight. Young Bucks versus Firing Squad, whatever. BCOG versus BC Elite. Tag title. IWGP Heavyweight Tag titles. Should be a classic. The Young Bucks and California just go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, look, people can diss on Tama Tonga all they want, but he and Tangaloa are a really good tag team.
And now that G1's over, I don't give a shit what they do with their storyline. So it's good. I just didn't like it in too much tournament play. But anyway, and then
I understand that.
And then the other match, which is very exciting because we've got All In coming up, and God knows what this man can win on the road to this. But we get Juice Robinson versus Cody Rhodes for the US title. Juice is a great champion. I love him. But I want to see that title on Cody. Cody would be the perfect IWGP US champion for this company.
When does this match take place? When is the Fighting Spirit?
My apologies, but I didn't say the date and announced. It is on September 30th.
Right, so he may very well be the NWA World's Champion.
Yeah, imagine that. The NWA champion versus the IWGP US champion. But, it'd be fantastic. That would just bring relevance to the NWA title once again and bring relevance.
Well, I think Nick Aldis is doing a great job with that on his own. Yeah. I don't think, but yeah, I do get what you're saying. We'll talk about that on the All In cast.
Exactly.
But I'm curious where they're going to go with Cody and Juice, because I feel like Cody needs a win.
I do too, and I think Cody needs... I love Juice, and I know they've got to build for the future, which is fine, but Juice is going to be there for a while, in my opinion. Just in case that Cody does go back to the E with the other boys next year, there's a high chance that could happen. I would like to see Cody get a IWGP US title US title defense on Kingdom. Cody's obviously going to have a match at Kingdom. That's a given. I think for the Westerners, and if they want to bring more Westerners, the Wrestle Kingdoms are obviously already huge enough as it is. But if you want to bring a more Westerner, or you could get Cody to defend the NWA title at Wrestle Kingdom. That would be even cooler.
That is probably
actually even cooler.
A better way to go.
But anyway, either way, I'd love to see Cody be a champion as a face at Wrestle Kingdom. I really do want to see that.
It would be pretty cool. It would definitely be pretty cool, but I just don't think that Juice should be losing it yet. So I don't know why this match is happening. I'm a little concerned, but I'm curious and I'm willing to let it play out. But the biggest news of the week for me, though, Hiromu Takahashi released a video, which I know you haven't had a chance to watch the video yet. I watched it just before we went live. It was amazing. Essentially, he wrote a letter. The video takes place at New Japan headquarters, and they're reading a letter from Hiromu, and he's basically saying, "Hey guys, sorry, I haven't been able to defend the belt. Sorry, I haven't been able to defend Mr. Belt, but I've been hurt, and I'm gonna let Mr. Belt talk for me, right?" And he says goodbye in the letter and stuff, and then Mr. Belt is there. And they set up a tape recorder, like they're recording him like it's an interview. And they ask Mr. Belt, how is Hiromu Takahashi's neck? And he says, it's healed. Mr. Belt can talk.
It's I don't know.
I don't think you're reacting appropriately to this.
I just love
Mr. Belt.
Mr. Belt.
The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship belt. The Mr. Belt.
Is this on level with Hangman Page's boots talking to him, or what?
No, it doesn't have a mouth like the boots, but it just has a voice that sounds conspicuously like Takahashi, but it's very clearly Hiromu voicing the belt. But it's Mr. Belt, and he can talk. This is a revelation. This changes everything. Over in Impact, Matt Sydal says the X Division title chooses who holds it. Maybe that's actually true for the Junior Heavyweight title.
Well,
it has sentience.
It's a very special title, so
But essentially, they announced that they're having to strip Hiromu Takahashi of the title, and they've announced a tournament.
They have.
So we're looking at 2 matches, 2 semi-final matches, and then a final, which is going to take place at Kings of Pro Wrestling. Those 2 matches are the matches we skipped over before. So at Destruction 3, we're looking at Bushi and Kushida.
Yeah. Well, fantastic.
Kushida just had a match in Rev Pro with our very own Adam Brooks, which is well worth a watch if anyone wants to check out Summer Sizzler over at Rev Pro. I will be talking about that next week with Akil, who will be talking about this month in BritRes, but all I can say is definitely it's a match worth watching. For me, as a Brooksy fan, as a Kushida fan, it wasn't the best match from either guy, but it's just exciting to see Brooksy having a match with Kushida.
Yeah.
So,
no, absolutely. Like this. So we've got Kushida Bushi at Kobe, Destruction in Kobe, and then we got Ospreay versus Marty, the British classic.
At FSU?
British classic number, 10, 20? I don't know. Every Ospreay, Marty, Zack Sabre Jr., like combination of either is always the British. I call them the British classic. They will go head to head at Fighting Spirit. Yes, in FSU in SDU.
So I'm gonna make my predictions here. I think we're getting Kushida over Bushi. I think we're getting Marty over Ospreay, and we get Marty versus Kushida for the strap.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with an upset. I'm gonna go with Bushi versus Marty.
Yeah, for the Hiromu connection.
I don't expect him to win it, but I'd like to see him get a little win over Kushida.
Yeah, I can see them doing that as well. It's the Bushi Kushida match is a bit of a toss up for me, but I definitely think Marty's going to be the next champion.
Yeah, look, and I want to make a quick little note. I've seen a couple of people's feedback. They're like, "Why is Bushi in it? Like, why is it only 4 men? Like, where's the rest?" The guys obviously in the junior best of Super Juniors, they could have done a little bit more with it. They could have done maybe like an 8-man tournament or something like that. But you got to remember, these are the last 4 IWGP champions, minus Ricochet, who's obviously now in WA. So they're the last 4 available champions, which I like that. It's great. And Bushi's obviously got that Hiromu LIJ connection, so which is nice. But people are like, is there something wrong with Ishimori? Why can't he be in it? Obviously, because he did a very good job in the Best of Super Juniors.
But the former champion connection.
Yeah, I like it.
It's more important. I
like
agree. I absolutely agree. I think I agree with all 4 of these guys being in there, and I'm looking forward to a Marty reign.
Marty deserves reign, which will probably last until Kingdom, and it's kind of looking like a lot of Bullet Club members might be going into either BC OG or BC Elite going into Wrestle Kingdom with titles. So
I wouldn't be surprised to see them going into Madison Square Garden with titles, to be honest with you. Madison Square Garden, we should talk about that too. It's sold out, so that's New Japan.
Oh, yeah, true, yes. My lord, I forgot about that.
Would you say I touched on the news show for all the rest. So anyone who's... A lot of our subscribers, I have noticed actually, and thanks a lot for this, guys. A lot of our subscribers are actually listening to every single episode. So, there are, of course, people who tune in just for the shows that they want. But I've got quite a few there that I've noticed are listening to every episode. So, hi, guys. Thanks for listening. Leave us a 5-star review if you can, please, because it really helps us and it can help us get featured and all that sort of good stuff, which helps big things happen. But aside from that, I did talk about it on the news show, but let's talk about it quickly here. It sold out in very quickly. I can't remember the exact time. It wasn't as quick as All In, but it's twice as many seats as well.
Right, and there's no 100% guarantee that Kenny and the Bucks are going to be there.
There's not. Because their contracts run out. We've talked about this in January and November for Ring of Honor, so it's just as likely that they're gone as it is that they're there, but I can't see them passing up the chance to be the first guys to headline Madison Square Garden, not with the E, right?
Look, I said this before. For me, if they're going to go to the E, especially the 4 main guys, so obviously Kenny's the major attraction for WWE. They obviously want Kenny. They obviously want the Bucks. I'm not sure where they are standing with Cody, but if all 4 of them go together, they're the 4 that I guess can appear on the main roster they don't need NXT. Well, obviously, I'd love to see them in NXT, but they don't need NXT, those four. And the Young Bucks and Kenny would be handing over so much financial and business freedom to WWE, like more than anyone else in the history of wrestling. They're handing over a lot.
I think I have some theories. I have some theories that I'll run through when we get to the All-In cast, because we're running out of time today. But when we get to the All-In cast with everybody, I've got some things I want to throw out there for people to think about. But it's up in the air. So we don't know any matches for the G1 Supercard, but it's sold out. And it raises the question, what is the draw? Is the draw the Ring of Honor brand? Is the draw the New Japan brand? Is the draw Madison Square Garden? Or is the draw WrestleMania weekend itself? Because everyone's already going, so let's all go to this show that's something different. What do you think is the main selling factor? Obviously, it's all of them. But
for me, it's Madison Square Garden. I mean, like you said, and most fans of New Japan and Ring of Honor know the potential chances of Bucks, Kenny, and Cody potentially not being there. And God, they might not even have Marty and Paige. Like, they might all go to NXT. God knows. Like, WWE could probably take the whole lot in one go. So there's a chance that none of those names are there. Obviously, the guys like Okada will be there, and Juice and Jay White and Dalton Castle. You know, who knows? Dalton Castle might get swooped up by WWE by then. Who knows? But there's still great core talent roster. Jericho won't do it because he refuses to do anything in the US soil.
Well, no, he's changed his tune. True. He's talking about being a free agent. He's opening up to new companies. So, but he might be at the Madison Square Garden show. That might be the thing that changed his mind.
There's potential that Shinsuke comes off his contract. He could be there.
Can we also just say, just quickly, going back to Chris Jericho, I, at one point, said, how good would it be? Remember, it was me and you, we were sitting here talking, and I said, how good would it be if he showed up just before SummerSlam with the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and challenged Seth Rollins for an IC versus IC match? Not for the titles, just as an exhibition. And you said I was crazy, but it sounded brilliant, right? Chris Jericho pitched the exact same thing, and WWE never got back to him. WWE, what are you doing? Do you know how much money that would have made?
Like what?
Instead, we got Seth versus Dolph $1 million. Like, come on.
Yeah. I know. It could have been something awesome. But what could have been? But yeah, look, to answer your question, I think it's the Madison Square Garden that sells it. Because it's the same night as...
Yeah, so then the follow-up question would be, if Impact were to say, if Impact were the first people to get Madison Square Garden that weren't WWE, or if it was AAA that were the first people to get Madison Square Garden and they weren't WWE, would they have sold out?
Yeah. If you did AAA, if you did I did Impact and AAA, I don't think Impact would have done it alone, even with the Madison Square Garden name. Don't think.
Right, but if they had that draw card of the AAA and the Lucha Underground connection,
AAA is.
Yeah. That's what I think as well. I think that it's the Garden and people are excited for wrestling in the Garden.
Yeah. And good play to anyone that's going to it, because the takeover could be huge by then. You got guys like Riddle, Keith Lee all coming up in NXT. Adam Cole could probably be in a world title, NXT major title picture by then. So you're going to have basically the best crews of New Japan, Ring of Honor, and NXT all going head to head on the one night in two different arenas in the same city. So.
Yeah, a lot of guys are going to be working less over WrestleMania weekend now because, Matt Riddle last year over WrestleMania weekend, he had like 13 matches in 2 days.
That makes me sad. I just thought of that. Oh, he won't do his...
Yeah, a lot of these guys because WrestleMania weekend is crazy now, and I don't know, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Yeah. Let's, we're out of time, so where can people find you,
BigBoy Mikey, BigBoy_Mikey on Twitter.
I am at GregUnchained on Twitter, at the GregUnchained on Instagram. We are the B+ Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. We are also the B+ Wrestling pretty much everywhere else. Find us, like us, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us a 5-star review. As I said, it really helps out. You have no idea how much it helps out. It takes 2 seconds. Would really appreciate it. As always, thank you very much for listening.
Hold one. Arm drag.
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold 2. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it. Dummy. Hold 3. The moss covered. 3-handle family granunzo. Mamma mia. It's me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin. Number 4, armbar.